What is good? It's your boy X coming at y'all with a brand new video, and as you guys can see, we're back at it with another tier list, this one being on the center position. If you guys want to check out the other tier list that we've done for the point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, and power forwards over the month of October, those will be linked down in the description down below, so you guys can check all of those out. And I will say that this one probably was the hardest tier list for me to rank because I feel like there isn't a very fine line between a lot of the good centers and a lot of the really kind of mediocre mid-tier centers that we have in the game. So hopefully you guys understand that it can be a little bit more lenient with this list, but we'll have to see about how the comment section goes after this one. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of centers that I feel like are very, very good, but then we also have a lot of centers that I feel like are, you know, just pretty good. And okay, and it's a little weird to rank, but we're gonna start off with the D tier, and obviously with the D tier we just highlight them all at once. We have Kendrick Perkins. I kind of just threw him in here because I wanted to dog on him. Kendrick Perkins is absolutely buns. Like, there's nothing that this card does right. I'm not feeling him. The next one we do have is Karl-Anthony Towns into the D tier, and if I'm being honest, I feel like it was just because this Karl-Anthony Towns really just has a lot of silver badges, just doesn't really do too much for me when it comes to all that sort of stuff. And you gotta go through the exchange. Now, it isn't really that expensive. An emerald card, 2 gold, 3 silver, and an original owned bronze or something like that. But it's really just not worth a lot of the time, because if you look at it, this Karl-Anthony Towns is basically just another version of this Chris Bosh. So why would you go through the exchange if you could just pick up Chris Bosh? It doesn't really make too much sense. When it comes to Joe Barry Carroll, just not a lot of stuff that he really gives me that I feel like I really want to use him over other cards. He's got the jump shot 1, which is okay, same one as Artis Gilmore, but it's just not something that I like, and he doesn't provide enough defensive versatility for me to really rank him any higher. Joakim Noah, I mean, awesome defensively, but can't really do a lot of finishing. His jump shot is meh, it's broken as hell. I just really can't warrant having him. Chris Bosh is, again, like Karl-Anthony Towns, a pretty nice stretch of big, but I was looking at it, and Chris Bosh has 1 bronze defensive badge, and the ability to badge out all the other ones, but because he's a Sapphire, he doesn't really have too many badge upgrades open, and that really kind of hinders how far you can bring him. Daryl Dawkins is a card that is great inside, great defensively, good rebounder, but is super, super slow. And we have so many of those cards that he was the worst out of all of them. Slower guys that can do rebounding, defense, and a little bit of mid-range. We have so many cards that can do that. Him being the worst, I had to put him down in the C. Now, starting off with the C tier, we have Ben Wallace, who is another card who can do a little bit of rebounding, really good defense, and the occasional midi, while being maybe a little bit slow, but I do think Ben Wallace is definitely decently sped, I guess we can call it, with a 73 speed. Now, Ben Wallace, I feel like the main reason I'm not a fan of this card anymore is because although he has Intimidator and Rebound Chase on Hall of Fame, he gives me so little on offense outside of the paint that I'm really just not feeling him that much anymore. So I put him down in the C tier. I understand that some people may want him B or something like that, but I can't do it with Ben Wallace, and same thing goes with Artis Gilmore. Both of these guys are just really back to the basket bigs, and that's really about it. Now, Artis Gilmore does give me a little bit more offensively because he has a better post game, but if I'm being honest, I'm really not going to pick up either of these guys to start a game for me, and there's only one center that can't shoot and is really just defensive focus that I'm ever going to run, and we'll see him later up on the list. Next up, we have Tyson Chandler, the budget version of Ben Wallace and Artis Gilmore, and if I'm being honest, this Tyson Chandler is actually probably one of the best just inside bigs that I've ever gone against. 92 interior defense, which is amazing, is a 95 standing down, which is great, and the defense is just beautiful. You also can add any badge you would want to on to Tyson Chandler, which I feel like really helps him out. And he has a pretty decent jump shot. It's the same one as a Robert Pack or Manu Ginobili, which ain't too bad. So, we got to throw him into the C tier. Next up, we have Sven Nader, the new, I guess it's not really new anymore, but the diamond card that did come out. Sven Nader, 6'11", and he just kind of does a little bit of everything for you, besides really shooting. Now, you can add any badge you would want to on him, but you can't upgrade one key badge that I would really want, and that is Intimidator. It has to stay on bronze, and I feel like that's a really limiting, badge. So maybe the more effective thing is to badge up his finishing you know, just a little bit, you know, consistent back down punisher, pro touch, things like that might really help him out, or just adding some more defensive ones like defensive leader, heart crusher, post move lockdown. But again, if you have to add a lot of badges onto a card just to make them, you know, B tier, it's probably not too worth it. Next up, we have the Rubi Roy Hibbert, who was a card that I kind of just put in here because I felt like he was a slightly better version of Daryl Dawkins. This Rubi, I don't know why I'm having such trouble saying the word, Rubi Roy Hibbert you get from actually finishing off 50 wins in Triple Threat Online. I just got mine yesterday, I think. And with this Roy Hibbert, he's kind of just meant to be one of those defensive bigs who can snag boards and just finish a little bit. But the great thing about this Roy Hibbert is he actually has an 81 midi with the Brook Lopez base, which is really, really nice. So if later down the year we do get a Diamond Roy Hibbert or something like that, who has a little bit higher speed, maybe into the 75 range, then we're looking really nice. And they'll probably give him like a 70 midi because this one has a 50, and Roy Hibbert never shot 3, so anything higher than a 25 is, well, bogus. But I do think I'm holding out some great hope for Roy Hibbert because his tendencies are amazing other than the foul. So I think he could be amazing, but the 40 speed that he has right now, yeah, it ain't it. The only reason he's above somebody like Daryl Dawkins is because of his great release and great mini, whereas Daryl Dawkins has that bum jump shot 17. Next up, we have Diamond Mark Eaton. Maybe a bit of a controversial pick, throwing him a little bit lower. But with Mark Eaton, you know, he is 7'4". That's great. But he's got a 35 speed, a 60 midi. Like, I can't do it. Really, I just can't do it. He also does not come with Rebound Chaser and does not come with Pogo Stick as a center. As a center, a defensive center, and he can't grab boards, and he can't jump in succession quickly. Yeah, that's really all I can say for him. He does have a great block shot, contest shot tendency, but listen, if my center has a 35 speed and I have to add Rebound Chaser to him, get out, man. Like, get out. Last but not least, into the C tier, we do have JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee is just like one of those cards that I feel like it's just in the back front of my mind. You know, I'm really not thinking about him. He's in the background, you know. Really good defensively, really good finishing wise, but he is pretty slow. Yeah, and that's really about it. There's not really too many things I would say I love about JaVale McGee, and he also doesn't have consistent contact finisher, pro touch, or even relentless. So badges that could be added to really help him out. But again, I mean, if you really have to add badges to make a card B tier, like, is it really worth it in the general scheme of things? JaVale McGee's a great card, but to really get into where you need to be, we would need a different version of the card, if I'm being honest. Starting off into the B tier, we have Alonzo Mourning, who is a card that I actually hated until I used him for his XP challenges last season, and I realized just the potential that he could have because he's 6'10", but has a 7'6" wingspan, which is insane. He's 6'10", but his wingspan is as long as Yao Ming is tall. That's otherworldly. He also has 2 of the Feint badges and post with lockdown rim protection, which is nice. You can add every single badge into the game to him besides clamps. So if you wanted to, you could have a range extender on Alonzo Mourning, but why would you do that is more of the question. Now, his defense is great. He has awesome post game, awesome inside. He has really good rebounding, and we come with Rebound Chaser on gold this time, which is like, thank God. I'm also an 82 midi, and obviously we can add every shooting badge that we would want to, so you could actually, you know, add a catch and shoot, add a pick and popper for those mid-range killer shots that I think really, really would help. The sad thing is he does have set shot 17, which, you know, that's not great, but I do feel like it is better this year than it has been in previous years, and you actually can get used to it and time it pretty well, because I feel like I've gotten used to it on my Bill Russell, and he does have a dynamic duo with Larry Johnson. I like to just tell you guys that they have duos so you know how much they help, and it gives them an 80 driving dunk, better perimeter a little bit, and a 90 mid-range, so pretty nice duo for Alonzo Mourning. Next up, we have Diamond Zydrunas Ilgauskas from the international set that just dropped yesterday. And if I'm being honest, I am not sure where I stand on this Zydrunas Ilgauskas card. Because on one hand, I absolutely love the offensive versatility that somebody like Big Z gives you with Hoff Green Machine and Hoff Hot Zone Hunter, as well as Gold Catch and Shoot. Like, it is beautiful. Then we have Hall of Fame box. We got Intimidator, which is great. But then we have to add Pogo Stick, and we have to add Rebound Chaser, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but they are cheaper badges, so I guess it's okay. It has a 79 shot 3, so with the correct code boost like Mike D'Antoni or even a shoe, you can be great, or just floor general and you get up to an 80, which is fine. Now, he does have the Kent Bazemore jump shot, which is slightly different, but I still think is a very, very solid jump shot. But the big thing that really held him out, because obviously everything here sounds pretty great for Big Z, he's got a 29 speed. So it is pretty tough. Even, boosting up everything that you could with speed, I'm pretty sure you can only get a speed boost with something like a perimeter centric. I've gone through and looked at every coach, and I'm doing it again. Right now, I think the only thing you can get it with is the 7 seconds with Mike D'Antoni, or a perimeter, actually not even on a perimeter centric, so just Mike D'Antoni will give a +4 to his speed to make it a 33. So then if you were to boost his speed with something else, it would only go up to a 36, which, that's still horrible. So it's really held Big Z back, in my opinion. Hopefully we get a pink diamond or something like that with even just a slightly higher speed and maybe a range extender, and he'll be a demon. But right now, I think B is his ceiling. Next up, we have the pink diamond Bob Lanier, a card that just kind of keeps falling down the tiers, in my opinion. And Bob Lanier, 6'11" with a 7'2" wingspan, which is great. 3 Hall of Fame finishing badges and back down Punisher, Contact, and Relentless. And he has a lot of solid badges across the board, but he doesn't impress me. He just doesn't impress me. He's got good post game, he's got good finishing, he's got good rebounding, and that's the one thing that he does well. I mean, getting boards and finishing the paint, but that's really about it. We don't have post move lockdown, we don't have pogo stick, and we don't have intimidator. So on the defensive end, he's still not going to be playing as insane as you would want him to be. Really nice mid range, but can get Hot Zone Hunter and Green Machine as badges that you add to them, but it's really not worth it. It doesn't have catch and shoot, so they're not going to be as amazing as you want them to be. Can't shoot the midi, 76B, which is nice, and set shot 9, which is an interesting jump shot. Good tendencies, but he's just very mid-tier, and again, you got to add badges to him to get him up to A-tier. So I feel like with the badges, he could be A-tier, but I just don't think it's very worth it to do it, so B-tier he sits. Next up, we have Amethyst Shaquille O'Neal, a card that I was kind of jumping around with where I liked him to be, because, we all know Shaq cards. They go down to the basket, they play insane. They do everything that you really kind of want them to be in the post. They get insane rebounds. They post hook over everybody. The only thing they really can't do is post fades. But then they're not going to be able to shoot the midi, and they're not going to be able to shoot the 3. Like, that's what you're getting out of a Shaq card when you pick him up. And that's exactly what this one does. And he does it great, but I think not as well as you want him to. So I kept him into B because I think a Shaq with Hoff back down Punisher is great. But we definitely need, a Shaq with Hall of Fame drop stepper, Hall of Fame deep hooks, maybe a Hall of Fame lob city finisher, and then we can really start talking about how, overpowered my guy is. Also, maybe a Dream Shake would help too, because he doesn't have that either. Next up, we have Ruby Rafe LaFrentz, a card that, I always love Rafe LaFrentz cards, so maybe I'm a little bit biased towards him. But he comes with Brick Wall, Moving Chalk Box, and Rebound Chaser as badges on him, which is great. And then we have a bunch of great shooting badges. Silver Hot Zone Hunter, we got Catch and Shoot, we got Flexible Release, we have Corner Specials, we have Pick and Popper, we have Green Machine. Great badges. Really solid post game, 85 post hook and post fadeaway. A good 89 shot 3, so with any sort of boost, he's got a 90. And not too bad speed. It's definitely low, but it could be worse. And you can add whatever finishing badge you want to him to help him out in that category as well. And maybe even post-pink technician would be a nice badge to add to him as well, because it's the one other playmaking one that you can add to him, which is nice. The tendencies definitely don't help him out, but his jump shot is jump shot 28. Dennis Johnson, Gail Goodrich, Mark Price, Michael Cooper type jump shot, really nice, and I think it's one that a lot of people like. And if you haven't tried out this Rafe LaFrentz card just to do some challenges and things like that, you realize he's actually really money and is a solid overall card. Next up in the B tier, we have Amethyst Pau Gasol. And Pau Gasol is just one of those guys that I always I think I really like, but I understand that the general consensus isn't that he's that highly rated, just because Pau Gasol always has a super slow jump shot. The thing that you're going to be able to do great with Pau Gasol, play good defense, rebound well, play make, because he has Hall of Fame post big technician, bronze dimer, gold break starter, and flashy passer, so you're going to be able to play make with him, shoot a little bit, and finish a little bit, just do a little bit of everything, and he's always a post demon. 93 post hook, 92 post fade, which is great. Has decent tendencies, and his jump shot, again, we've talked about it, is a little bit slow. I think if you know how to use Pau Gasol, you pick and choose your shots great. You only shoot off the pick and pop and things like that. You can kind of kill it with this Pau Gasol card, but it's a very niche play style, and you have to kind of work with that card, really get used to the release before you can absolutely kill it. Next up, we have Diamond Greg Oden, a card that I actually debated putting up into the A tier because Greg Oden's mid-range is absolutely killer. His set shot 16, for some reason, with him, I've actually found it really consistently greening. Other cards that have it are obviously Kendrick Perkins, who we were just dogging on, and Bobby Jones. For some reason, on Greg Oden, it's money to me. Now, 5 Hall of Fame badges on our guy Greg Oden: Rim Protector, Back Down Punisher, Drop Server, Pick and Roll, and Putback Boss. And another card that we're going to be playing: Insane Defense and finishing crazy. But we have a capable midi of a 78. We have some good post game and obviously awesome rebounding. Now, one badge that I would say is definitely useful to add to him is Pogo Stick, because he doesn't have it now. And it's a relatively cheap badge, so you should be okay. And other than that, I mean, good tendencies, 89 contest and block shot, which is great. But Greg Oden does have a dynamic duo that you can add to him from Brandon Roy, which boosts him in 43 to his 3-point shot and then 7 to each of his rebounding, giving him a 97 offensive and defensive rebounding, and then a 73 shot 3. So obviously Brandon Roy is not the highest rated of cards, but if you do add him into your lineup, maybe even just for triple threat, you can get a Greg Oden with some sort of floor general, which will boost it up to a 77 shot 3. Then you can have a Mike D'Antoni coach boost, which will push it up to a 81 shot 3, and then a shoe like an Adidas Superstar, which will push it up even farther to an 84 shot 3 on a Greg Oden card. Pretty nice, but obviously we can't rake it on there because with that Greg Oden, he probably could be S tier. But then the fact that you have to have Brandon Roy on there, I don't know. Next up, we have Dikembe Mutombo's Diamond up into here, and Dikembe Mutombo is just one of those guys that I feel like I love every single year. His defensive ability, because oh my lord, because he send every damn shot to the 7th row, and he finishes really solidly, but he still feels very limited to me because I only can play him in the post. I can't shoot a midi with him at all. Obviously, I cannot shoot a 3 with him, and he has a 99 contested block shot, which is great, but he has set shot 17, which I'm not the biggest fan of, and there's just a lot of negative factors that I feel like really hold Dikembe Mutombo down. If he had like a 75, maybe even an 80 midi, I feel like I would like this Dikembe a lot more just because of how great his defense is. But it definitely hurts me. And last but not least, into the B tier, again, a little bit of a controversial pick because, not too many people are the biggest fan of this Brook Lopez card, but I still really, really like him. After the boost, gets some extra things into his speed a little bit, and he just has some great shooting with the Brook Lopez base, 70 shot 3. I like his post game, I like the defense and the rebounding, and then he has brick wall and moving truck, as well as silver clamps, and I think that that's really why I like the whole Brook Lopez in there, because if he does get switched onto somebody else, he can still hold his own a little bit, and nobody's really going to be blowing by him too much. You go against those guys using Amy Giannis at center or something like that, and you can definitely hold your own with Brook Lopez because of that silver clamps, and that's kind of just, that's why I'm feeling Brook Lopez a little bit, and he's definitely not overpowered by any means, which is why I have him in the B tier, but he's definitely a solid card. Starting off the A tier, we got Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson is just one of those guys, can do all of the great post game that you need, finish inside great, awesome defense, has Hall of Fame Intimidator, which you love, and even can space the floor a little bit with an 84 midi and a 70 shot 3. And the only reason I feel like he's not into everybody's top tier, S tier, is because he's a 44 speed, so that definitely holds him back, and his jump shot's kind of booty. But Ralph Sampson's still great, he's still fun, definitely worthy of the A tier, in my opinion at least. Next up, we do have Rubi Andrea Barnani coming in with the controversial pick, and I'm here for it, man. Andrea Barnani is something to behold. 7 foot with a 7'4" wingspan, which is great. A little bit slow, but oh my lord, is his all-around game just beautiful. 83 shot midi and 87 shot 3. We have good rebounding, we have solid all-around defense, good finishing, good post game, decent tendencies, and then the Amari Stoudemire jump shot, which is just so money. Before you dog on this Andrea Barnani card, I want you to actually use him, actually try him out with some sort of like floor general boost to get him that 90 shot 3. And man, oh man, does he kill it. Even as bronze range extender as your center. Now, he's definitely not going to be, the most defensive presence, but the spacing that he gives you on offense is absolutely gorgeous. Definitely try him out, and I feel like a lot of you guys will be too disappointed. Next up, we have Pink Diamond Patrick Ewing, who is a card to me that I put him into the A tier because he definitely should be amazing with 9 Hall of Fame badges, all in the post, in defense and finishing, and the ability to add every single badge that you would want to in the game, and even a capable 69 shot 3. So with a shoe and coach boost, you can get to a 76, and then with floor general an 80, which is solid, and his stats are just amazing. It's just every year, I feel like Patrick Ewing's jump shot and just his animations are just nah, which hold them always away from getting to that S tier, and I wouldn't be surprised if as we go on in the year, he definitely drops below. But post-wise, Ewing is one of the best cards in the game. If you badge him and shoe him out correctly, he can definitely be one of the best cards at center position in the game, but it's a pretty hefty price to do so. Next up, we have Pink Diamond Nate Thurmond, who got one-upped by a card in his all-around defensive ability at the center position, but that's really why you want him. He's a capable midi, really solid. He has awesome finishing, solid post game, and defense is insane with Hoff Intimidator and gold clamps off rip. Only badge he doesn't have are Heart Crusher, Interceptor, and Trapper, which aren't too big of a deal. It would be nice to have them, but I'm not too mad about it. And again, Nate Thurmond is just here because of his defensive presence. I don't recommend you spend all your tokens, like 150 to get him, but he's definitely one of the top tier centers right now. Next up, we do have Pink Diamond Moses Malone, who I think if you badge out correctly, definitely could be an S tier card, but it is so expensive because you have to boost up a lot of his shooting and give him clamps, and I feel like a gold clamps range extender Moses Malone could be insane, but again, that's stupid expensive. You also have to add a Mike D'Antoni boost, some sort of 3-point shooting shoe, and a Hoff floor general card on there to give him a 74 shot 3, which that's just so he can like smack out the corner shot, which is a little bit tough, but set shot 1 is definitely not too bad of a jump shot on Moses Malone. His defensive tendencies are amazing, and overall, I feel like he's already a great card. Those other things just kind of boost him up to an S tier, but it's so expensive that I kind of left him into A. Next up, we have Amethyst Yao Ming, who is just one of those guys who's always so good because he's so damn tall. Now, Yao Ming has the same kind of hurt that a Sejuna Sagauskas does, and that is the fact that we have a 25 speed, which definitely hurts. But if you play your cards correctly, you should be able to still hold your own on defense. And the fact that he is 7'6", I mean, it's going to scare enough people from going to the paint that you should be pretty okay. And Yao Ming has an amazing jump shot, which kind of makes it stupid easy to bang out all those minis with his high mid-range rating. And then last but not least, in the A tier, we have Diamond Willis Reed, who is just one of those cards that his stats are so wildly good, as well as awesome badges that I feel like, he's always got to be up there. Great rebounding, great defense. He has a solid speed of a 73. We got awesome finishing, a really good post game, and a 94 post hook. Like, that's godly. And then we have an 84-8 midi. So beautiful. 87 contest shot, 87 block shot tendency, jump shot 22, which is beautiful. Darren Williams, James Worthy, Chris Webber, things like that. Absolutely gorgeous jump shot, and I think it's really going to help out a lot of people smack out those middies. And it's just an overall very, very solid card. And then when it comes to the S tier, we actually only have a few people that are sneaking into it. First off, it's George Mikan. Not really going to explain this one too much. He's just the perfect stretch big, or one of the best that we have right now, as well as being able to hold his own. The best out of the stretch bigs on defense. Always been to the S tier so far. I think his time staying up at the top is very narrowly closing, but for now, I still have him up there. Bill Russell, the best defensive big in the entire game. Bill Russell is obviously hindered by the fact that he only has a 70 midi and a 29 3-point shot, but he has Hall of Fame defensive leader, intimidator, post move lockdown, and rim protector. We have gold clamps, we have gold rebound chaser, pogo stick, pickpocket, which is great, and some solid finishing badges with more that you could add to make him insane, and an 84 speed. So you're really not going to be lacking too much when it comes to just defensive ability with this Bill Russell. Also have a 99 contest shot, 99 block shot. I use this Bill Russell right now as my starting center, and I hate to use centers that can't shoot, and I still have yet to really absolutely get killed playing it normally, non-gameplay style. I win every single game with this Bill Russell starting as my center just because of his defensive presence and him not allowing anything in the paint. Next up, we have two guards that I kind of view in the same boat, and that is Amethyst Kristaps Porzingis and Amethyst Karl-Anthony Towns. Kristaps Porzingis, I think in other lists, I definitely ranked a little bit lower, or maybe just low in the top 10. And then I looked at it, and there's not a single card that I've really found or used, other than two power forwards I'm going to talk about in a second, that can play the center position and absolutely kill it. You know, Kristaps Porzingis is 7'3", so he's still going to be able to play great defense, 69 speed, has 2 Hall of Fame badges in Pick and Popper and Pump Fake Maestro, and his ability to space the floor while still playing some great defense and finishing inside, it's overpowered. I used to dog Porzingis because he's, a little bit weak, but the Brook Lopez base and how great he plays, I feel like he plays some of the best. As an actual center, he plays some of the best center in the entire game. And then Karl-Anthony Towns just does everything that Porzingis does, just the same, with a different release in the Karl-Anthony Towns release, but it's just as good. And then you can actually badge out every single defensive badge on Karl-Anthony Towns, which I think is the correct route, as well as upgrading his flexible release and steady shooter. I know it sounds weird to boost up his steady shooter, but he has it on bronze, which means you're getting a very, very tiny contest shot boost while getting a very hindered open shot. So by boosting up it to gold, you actually get better contest shots with Karl-Anthony Towns with the same negative to wide open. So definitely boost it up, definitely boost up flexible release. We all know it's an amazing badge. And then give him things like pogo stick, post move lockdown, and maybe even clamps could be fun, and definitely intimidator. And then with obviously any sort of shoe or things like that, you can get him up to a 90 shot 3, which is beautiful, on top of the great post game. And that's it for our tier list. But I did want to say that when it comes to centers, there are two that I feel like you should be, that are definitely like top tier centers that just are primary position power forwards, and that is a badged up glitched Tim Duncan and a badged up Draymond Green. If I'm being honest, those are probably the two best centers in the entire game to run right now. These are just the best centers at the primary center position, but the two best that you should be trying to get if you're really trying to have a top tier God squad to compete in 250k is going to be glitched Diamond Tim Duncan and glitched Diamond, or not glitched, or just Diamond Draymond Green. So I want to say that. So there we go. There's our tier list with our best centers in the game. Make sure you guys like the video, guys that enjoy. Comment your favorite center in the entire game right now into the comment section. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new. We are on that road to 10k. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video.